Major Music.
What's good? Coming back at y'all with another video. If this is your first time on this channel, I like to talk all things music production. As we're about to talk about now about the Native Instruments sale, you can follow me on Instagram at d._majormusic, as well as follow me on Twitter at d.mme. And if this is your first time here, I also do what we call the Major Music Lounge podcast, which I interview other producers, sound designers, music production app developers, music production content creators. You can catch the podcast here on YouTube as well as all podcast streaming platforms. So what I wanted to get into today is to talk a little bit about the Native Instruments sale that's going down. So this morning when I woke up, I got an email from Native Instruments, and I'm looking right here because I have my iPad right here, but Native Instruments, they usually do this sale every year, and what it is 9 expansions for $99. Now, if you're new to Native Instruments Maschine, this is a great sale to get some expansions for what, pretty much about $10 a pop. Normally they're about 50 bucks. And sometimes you may get these coupon codes throughout the year, and then like around the holidays, Native Instruments usually does another sale. But this is something they're actually going to be running for about a week or so. And you know, I read right here, 9 expansions for $99. Hip hop, micro house, industrial techno, or neo soul, whatever genre does it for you, there's an expansion to do it with. For just 1 week, you can mix and match 9 expansions for just $99. Each one is filled with samples, loops, and battery kits, plus presets for Massive, Monarch, and Prism. Whether you're expanding your machine setup or giving your DAW something new to play with, pick and mix to soup up your sample library until February 28th. So Native Instruments usually does something like this every year. They're doing it a little bit earlier than usual this year, so I definitely would take advantage. Now, the reason that I wanted to make this video, and I did one previously for a similar sale that they actually had, I think last summer. This is kind of part 2 of that, and if you haven't saw that video yet, I'll go ahead and leave it in the description below. There were also a few expansions that were released after I did the video on all the expansions previously. So I wanted to also cover some of those that I didn't cover in the first video. What I was going to do in this video is going to show you some of the beat making videos that I've done using some of these expansions, in case anybody out there wanted to purchase these and wanted to kind of hear how they sound before they made that purchase. I'm looking at some of the expansions that I own personally and that I've done beat making videos with, for anyone that is interested in picking some of those up. So I'm gonna start off really with Burnt Hues. As we're looking here on the Native Instruments website, it says here, the loose sample heavy stylings of underground West Coast hip hop from the 2000s until today. So if you like that West Coast sound and a lot of that G-Funk sound, Burnt Hues is probably something that you would be interested in. current Hues was actually created by MSX Sound. MSX Sound also created other expansions like Soul Magic, like Aquarius Earth, and like the Faded Reels Lo-Fi expansion. Now, since we're also talking about that West Coast sound, another good expansion to check out would be the Backyard Jams expansion. Next on my list would be crate cuts. Now, if you like creating lo-fi, or if you like creating boom bap, then I would definitely recommend crate cuts. Now, just reading off here from the website to kind of give you some insight on what it contains inside of the crate cuts expansion. It's going to have 526 loops, 367 drum samples, 303 one-shots, and then you're going to have 50 battery kits, 45 machine kits. As far as presets, they're going to have 20 massive presets with 12 Monarch presets. And then something that is going to be a machine exclusive is going to be 140 plus patterns and 15 sampled instruments and 8 demo projects. And it's not too big of an expansion either. It's going to be 2.1 gigs. So you definitely want to check that out. Going to show you a short beat making video on the crate cuts expansion as well. expansion that maybe doesn't get talked about a lot, but is one of my own personal favorites, is going to be the Headland Flow expansion. When I think of the Headland Flow expansion, I think about a lot of the hip hop that I'm familiar with from Louisiana, going back to like the early 2000s or even the late 90s, like a lot of old No Limit, old Cash Money. Now, as far as what you're gonna get inside of Headland Flow, it's gonna be 384 construction loops, 421 drum samples, 293 one-shots. As far as like battery kits, you're going to get 58, 51 Maschine kits, 24 massive presets, 7 Monarch presets, and 12 Reactor Prism presets. And then as far as Maschine exclusives, going to be 7 projects with 209 patterns, 31 drum presets, and 21 sample instruments. Alright, now next on the list, another personal favorite of mine, which is going to be the Sierra Grove expansion. Being that this has been out for a couple of years, I just actually found out another fun fact. What I just found out was the Sierra Grove expansion was also created in collaboration with MSX Sound. So they make really soulful samples and some high quality samples as well. So if you're new to getting samples online, you like a lot of that jazzy, lo-fi, maybe something you can make some boom bap with, then I would recommend checking out MSX Sound. They not only have these expansions that they have on a Native Instruments website, but they also have their own website which they sell samples on as well. So I have not only some of their expansions for Maschine, but I also have a lot of their MPC expansions as well. So definitely shout out to MSX Sound. Now, looking here again, sticking with the theme of being soulful. So Sierra Grove channels the modern grooves of infectious melodies and contemporary soul music. I won't read that whole thing right there, but just to give you some insight of all that you're getting inside of the Sierra Grove expansion. And kind of going back with the theme on West Coast beats, Marble Rims is another great expansion. It's going to have that G-Funk sound. Now, to me, that's going to be more of that late 90s type of West Coast hip hop. I actually did a beat making video with this one as well. Let's go ahead and get into that one. Next on the list is going to be the Prospect Haze expansion. Now that one is actually designed by Raw Cuts. Raw Cut samples are kind of made for that old school hip hop, boom bap type sound. Again, going back to the late 90s, just thinking about like New York hip hop around that time. Now Prospect Haze, just to kind of read the summary of what the Prospect Haze expansion is, sampling is at the heart of the golden hip hop era. After the early wave of the 1980s drum machine oriented records, New York DJs and producers looked to their vinyl collections for material to sample for local MCs. Taking advantage of the first generation of sampling workstations, these artists sliced up jazz, rock, soul, and funk records, using them as a foundation for beats. Prospect Haze relies upon the same techniques to recreate the smooth, silky sound heard on classic hip-hop recordings. Now, I will have to say, like, because this came out, I remember, around 2014 or so, and for me, it was a couple years after I had gotten into, like, Maschine, because I think I got into Maschine around 2010, and at that time, I was kind of looking for exactly what this is, that old school hip-hop sound. And I remember picking this expansion up and just cooking up a lot of beats with it instantly. It actually all started with the iMachine, which is the version of Maschine for iPad. But they had, with iMachine, you don't necessarily get all the full expansions. It's kind of like light versions of all the expansions. But I purchased that one and I made some beats with it. And then next thing you know, I had to purchase the full kit for Maschine on my Mac. And like I said, it was instant inspiration for me. Let's go ahead and show a video for that one. So I just want to make a follow-up video to the one I did last year when Native Instruments did a similar sale for anyone interested in picking up some of these expansions. I have a lot of beat making videos here on this channel from a wide variety of different expansions that are also in this sale that I didn't cover in this video, but definitely check it out. If there's any questions, please leave a comment. You could also follow me on Instagram at d._majormusic. Check out new episodes of the Major Music Lounge podcast here on this channel. On Fridays, there are going to be music producer interviews as well as on all podcast streaming platforms. I appreciate y'all checking out this video. Go ahead, hit the like button, and again, subscribe. And that's it for your boy D. I'm out.